Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the ecommerce podcast. My name is Henson, and today our guest is Casey Gauss. And Casey is the founder and CEO of ViralLaunch. And I'm sure most of the listeners today have heard of ViralLaunch as they're one of the biggest and original Amazon software platforms. And they provide a suite of really powerful tools to help Amazon sellers succeed. So please check out their website at viral-launch.com. So let's get this started. Welcome, Casey, and thanks for joining the ecommerce podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Henson. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So could you give us maybe a quick little background of what you did before you got into Amazon? How did you end up starting ViralLaunch?
Yeah. So my story is, I'm currently 26. I went to college, was studying business, taught myself how to code, dropped out building some iOS apps for the iPhone, if you will. And a friend of mine, we had run track together in college. He was selling on Amazon, and basically he pitched ViralLaunch to me as this opportunity to make, an extra $10,000 per month between the two of us. And I would be able to use that as side money as I focus on some of my app ideas, essentially. And things kind of just took off from there. So I still to date have never sold a physical product online. And I've really just been able to learn from all the data that we're getting. I have friends that are doing over $100 million per year on Amazon. And so kind of just being part of the space, using our data to pull insights into this kind of analysis has really helped me to get to where I am. And now, ViralLaunch is over 70 employees. I think we're close to 75. And just focus on helping people sell on Amazon.
Yeah, that's awesome. I never knew that you actually never sold a physical product before. Is that something you might want to try doing in the future? Like, since you've seen so many, if you helped so many businesses succeed, right? Does that ever do you ever have the curiosity to say, hey, let me try making my own product one day and see what I can do with that? Or
so definitely in the beginning, I was very, very tempted just because especially cell phone cases, cell phone accessories were not nearly as saturated as they are, but they're selling so well. So I was super tempted at one point, but I just felt like there's so much a conflict of interest. And, at this point, and then there was a period probably 2 years ago where some friends of mine, they went and sold their Amazon business for $15 million. And we had helped drive a lot of that success. And so I basically felt like I knew the formula, but I felt like there's too much of a conflict of interest. And now we work with some major brands where data security, all these things are so important. And if they knew, if I was selling and they knew that, they probably just wouldn't even work with us. So I basically abstained from selling because I don't want any conflicts of interest.
yeah, that makes perfect sense. I totally understand. But yeah, that's great. So let's talk a little bit about ViralLaunch. You guys have so many great tools that you offer. Which tool would you say is the most popular or the one that people use the most?
Yeah, no, thank you. So our most popular tool is our Chrome extension. It's called Market Intelligence. And, we launched this a little over 2 years ago now. And, basically there was a lot of things Jungle Scout was the dominant tool at the time, still, super popular. And there was just a lot of things that Jungle Scout wasn't doing, like looking at market trends, for example. So instead of just looking at how a product is doing now, looking at the seasonality of the market. So there's a lot of cool new ideas that we introduced to the space when we launched that tool. And, a lot of people have caught up now, which is cool, helping people to make better decisions. But yeah, market intelligence is our most popular, but we really dove into the product research phase for a little bit and then keyword research. And now we're focusing on more kind of overall management. And we have a PPC tool that will be launching very quickly. So basically I believe that in a lot of different areas, you have to be an expert at kind of everything in order to be an expert at anything. So for example, you have people that write Amazon listings, but if they don't know how the sales interact with the listing content to drive ranking, then you can't write a really well SEO optimized title because you don't have 30,000 launches that you've run to understand how those keywords are impacting sales, or you don't have a split testing tool to know how what you're writing impacts sales. And from there, like to build a keyword research tool, you can't build a keyword research tool if you also don't have that SEO knowledge. So like we've kind of felt like, okay, you know, in order to be an expert here, we got to build this. In order to be an expert over here, or because we're an expert here, we can build this. So yeah, that's kind of how we've gotten to doing a lot, if you will.
Cool. Yeah, that's really good information. So since you guys are know so much about doing product launches, like as a new seller, what would you say like that's the first thing they need to do? Is it keyword research they have to first figure out to check their competitors and make sure that this product is something they actually really want to try to compete in? And then what do they do after that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I think one thing that we're trying, or the market is shifting overall, and you know we're trying to push this as well, is like people should really be doing their keyword research before they even source their product. Because too often, you know, you were asking some of the mistakes that sellers make is like, you know, one mistake they make is they source a product, but they don't know what keywords are going to be driving those sales. And on Amazon, like keywords are kind of the lifeblood of the business. It's your job to get in front of the traffic that is coming, that Amazon is sending via keywords. And so, you know, I have people that come to me, they have a product and they're like, hey, I'm struggling to sell well. And I ask them, you know, well, what's your main keyword? And they're like, well, I don't know. It's kind of this, but it's kind of that. And the way to drive sales on Amazon is ranking at the end of the day. So like before you source your product, you have to know what your keyword strategy is going to be, because you know, I also see people that they source a product, you know, they see that there's high demand or a lot of people are selling them or whatever it may be, but they don't have that keyword strategy. And had they looked at the keywords that they would need to get ranking for and that they'd be competing on, they'd have realized, wow, this is a very competitive space. So if you do your keyword research up front, you already know what keywords you're going to need to go and rank for. You know how competitive they're going to be, and you have a good idea of how much marketing dollars you're going to have to put into the business in order to be successful. So basically, like you're not playing as much of a risk when you're sourcing that product. So really, you should be doing your keyword research up front and really kind of understanding what your competitors are doing from a keyword research perspective. What keywords are they prioritizing in their listing? What keywords are they ranking for? What keywords aren't they ranking for? What keywords are they running ads on? What keywords aren't they running ads on? And you know, at the end of the day, you'll have a really good understanding of, wow, well, the top sellers in this market are missing out on these 4 words organically that collectively have 10,000 searches per month. And they're missing out on all of these keywords from a PPC perspective. And so that's a really cool opportunity for me to seize like those pieces of the market and really have a fighting chance. So now I feel really comfortable in this product. And then, you know, once you have the product, then you can use that same keyword research to do your listing optimization. Again, make sure that the data is up to date, but do your listing optimization, build out your listing, and then you already have the keywords that you need for your PPC. And then if you want to do anything related to like rebates or giveaways, then you have the ability to do that. So basically it's a lot of work up front, but do the work up front so you're that much more likely to be successful.
Right. That's really good data right there. So question for you is a lot of sellers these days, you know, Amazon is very different than it was, let's say 3 or 4 years ago. There's so much more competition and saturation. Now, do you still see that there's still competitive parts in Amazon where, like, let's say there's a new product that someone wants to get into? Will those still be able to compete with some of the top sellers? And is there strategies that you can help make sure that they can actually get there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think in general, there's always going to be like new fads, if you will. So, you know, there's always going to be a new fidget spinner or new beauty product or new supplement, but finding those is difficult. And like, you know, some of my most successful friends are people that kind of almost accidentally sourced the product and had the product right before the fad took off. And, you know, now they're making $1 million plus per year off of a single product, which is cool, but you shouldn't be betting on that. And the opportunity, and to your point, yes, it's getting more competitive. And before, the products that we used to go after, we wouldn't, because the amount of marketing dollars we're going to have to spend, like the amount of competition is just too great. So now kind of our suggestion and our strategy is looking for what we call micro niches. So a micro niche is essentially a product that you have the opportunity on a single product to do anywhere between $8,000 and $20,000 per month top line revenue. If you go above $20,000 per month top line revenue, you start to get into these product markets where they're a lot more competitive and you have more sophisticated sellers, being more aggressive in that space. Because, if you think about someone that's doing a couple $1 million a year, they don't care as much about a product that's only selling $10,000 a month because they know that they can go after a product that's doing $50,000 per month or more. So basically trying to find these products that are flying under the radar, but still provide good opportunity where you're not going to have to spend as much in marketing dollars. You're not going to have to be as aggressive from a competition standpoint. And you're going to be able to sleep at night because you don't feel like competitors are just going and leaving bad reviews or, doing all kinds of things that these competitors do. So basically my suggestion is look for markets that are not too competitive, that are in kind of that $8,000 to $20,000 per month top line revenue mark, because they're a lot less competitive. And there are some opportunities outside of that, but you have to kind of look outside the norm. So look for products that are really heavy or oddly shaped, like the products basically that no one else wants to sell. That's what you should be trying to sell, because the harder it is to get into the market, or the bigger the hurdle, the less people are going to be jumping over that hurdle to go and be successful, and the more you'll be carving out this niche for yourself.
Got it. Yeah. So what about after, let's say we do our keyword research, we do our listing optimization. Now I got my product, and now I want to be able to get that first 10 reviews or get that sales velocity going. And I know, back then you guys were very good with doing the product launches. Are you guys still doing product launches for sellers? And what have you seen that's changed recently? Because there's been a lot of rumors saying that, I shouldn't do discounts more than, 80 or 90%, or I shouldn't do any discounts at all because it could be a waste of money because Amazon doesn't rank discounts as how they used to rank before. So what are your thoughts and suggestions on the launch part?
Yeah, great question. So, yes, we are still doing some giveaways because some people they prefer that method, and that's kind of what they've always relied on. Typically it's bigger sellers that are doing these giveaways, but this isn't really the advised strategy anymore. We just offer the tool because people still want it. So first off, our strategy is starting off with PPC and Amazon advertising specifically. And the reason for that is a couple. So one, at the end of the day, you have your main keyword in mind. Let's say you're selling a fish oil. You know that fish oil is your main keyword. But the problem is that you don't know how well you perform for that keyword. Maybe customers or potential customers think that you're more of an omega-3 oil, right? Or some other long-tail keywords. So basically not your main keyword. So maybe it's fish oil supplement, maybe it's fish oil pills, maybe it's heart health pills. There's so many keywords that are related to your product, and you really should be using advertising data, which gives you the opportunity to really understand what the keywords are that customers actually want to buy your product for. Because too often we see people that, they have one to, just a few reviews, if you will, and they go and they try to get ranking for that fish oil keyword, and they don't sell very well, and they end up falling down in the search results, and they kind of wasted some of that money. Getting ranking for a keyword that you don't convert well for just sucks. It's usually a waste of money. So our suggestion is run PPC, be aggressive for your first 2 to 4 weeks, and really get a lot of data around what keywords you're converting well for. And those are the keywords that you should start trying to rank for. And I'll talk about the ranking method. Or a lot of times you'll start ranking for those keywords organically just because you're having success with PPC. Now, a lot of people think that PPC ranking or ranking with PPC, the old strategy was, okay, I'm going to spend whatever it takes, and I'm going to just, drive as many sales as possible with PPC for this keyword, even if my ACoS is super high, even if I have to pay crazy cost per clicks and have a crazy budget. And the problem is that actually, if you're not performing well for a keyword, even if you're driving a bunch of sales, that will actually hurt your ranking, because you're basically telling Amazon that yeah, I don't really convert as well for this keyword. My click-through rate isn't as good for this keyword. Like basically you're telling Amazon that you're not performing very well for that keyword. So they don't want to show you organically nearly as much. And so the strategy really with PPC is all about finding your most efficient traffic, your most efficient keywords, and really scaling those up. So basically, versus telling Amazon, telling customers what you should be ranking for and what they should be buying for, it's a lot more about following the data and identifying the keywords based on performance, what keywords you should be ranking for based on how customers are actually buying. So start off with PPC, get that data around keywords. And then secondly, what's working for driving ranking very quickly, because the PPC approach does take longer. What works for ranking very quickly? Now, we don't offer this as a service because I think that it is against terms of service to do this. But I will say I'm not seeing anybody get in trouble for this. And I know that it's working very well. So I have to share that stipulation. So basically what people are doing is they're doing rebates. A lot of people are doing it through their own kind of mini chat funnel. So basically you run Facebook ads talking about like, hey, want to try this brand new hot product on Amazon or whatever, driving interest in your product. And you get them into mini chat, get them excited about the product. And then you basically have them, if they are ranking after page 3, then basically you give them a URL that allows them to click on the product, takes them to, page 30 or whatever kind of URL you want to use to drive ranking. They buy it at full price, and then you reimburse them through PayPal the full price. So they get the product for free, but they pay full price for it. You give them a full rebate essentially. And once your product starts ranking for that keyword on page 3 or so, now a lot of people are doing what's called search, find, buy, where, okay, if the keyword is fish oil, you tell the customer, you change the mini chat flow to say, hey, just go search fish oil, look for this product, you show them an image, and you might find it on page 2 or 3. So then they go and they do that, and that really starts to boost the keyword ranking, and you continue to refund through PayPal. So I think the refund piece is against terms of service. You're compensating someone for buying your product. And then secondly, the search, find, buy, telling a customer what to do to drive your ranking. Like, I don't agree with those things, but again, I do see a lot of people having success there.
Right. And I've heard of that strategy, and there's a lot of different softwares now that people try to build the ManyChat sequence, get the buyer data, like exactly how you said. But I think I totally agree with you. It's against TOS, and it's probably just a matter of time before Amazon releases something to tell you he can't do this anymore, because really it is, and it's a way of manipulating search rank, right? Or just ranking in general. It's not like a real purchase. So
yeah,
Amazon really wants to.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying Amazon really wants to have like real data, meaning like they want to know exactly what people are really clicking on, what they really want to buy, rather than you forcing someone to buy something to move it up into the the top page or two. So.
And the plus side to the seller, but the piece that Amazon doesn't like here is that now when that person goes and leaves a review, it's shown as a verified purchase because they paid full price for that, and so it just seems manipulative.
Right, I totally I would say try to avoid that, but if it works now, and if you're a new seller and you need to get a little advantage there, it might be something you want to look into.
Yeah, absolutely.
And talking about PPC, I see you guys are launching. You said you're launching a new service for PPC. Is that the space managed services that you're talking about?
Yeah, so we've been running PPC for people probably close to a year now. It started very small, and recently we've been doing this more as a managed service. And that's just because we needed people to test out our software, and we have a lot of expertise in-house to manage PPC. So yeah, currently we have what's called Space Managed Services. Space stands for Sales Performance and Conversion Engine. We're probably going to change the name. But anyways, right now, people are coming to us and we're managing PPC with the focus of driving keyword ranking. It's going really well, but we'll actually be releasing a PPC management tool here very soon.
Awesome. So that's going to be automated, right? It's not like someone's actually managing anymore.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll still have kind of managed services. So we also work with some major brands, and these brands, they don't want to use tools. Like they want someone else to manage their PPC. And so the PPC tool will be for those that like want to be able to do it themselves, or they want to, have an automated system go and manage it for them.
Gotcha. So with PPC, you guys probably have a lot of data in terms of prices and, what listing prices and how much they're changing. One of the biggest things right now is the Trump tariffs with the 25% increase. And there's a lot of people that don't really know what's going to happen in the future. Have you seen a lot of the customers just increase their prices because of this? Or what do you think is the result of this tariff that's going on right now?
Yeah, so you brought this up, and that is a really good question that I'm going to ask the team after this. I'm going to ask them to go look into, because it would be very interesting to see if average price point in some of the markets are increasing, and to what degree. It would probably be hard to statistically say like, hey, yes, this is due to the price, the tariffs, but it's definitely worth looking into. Just from my limited perspective, I know a lot of people are looking at trying to move suppliers to like Vietnam or you name it. And there's some companies out there that are like trying to help people do that, and they're having a lot of success with it. But right now I'm seeing a lot of people that are trying to move production outside. Some other people are kind of just trying to hold on, and they're eating the lower margins, and they're trying to like hope that this blows over. Because like their market right now with the way that competitors are pricing can't afford it. So from a limited perspective, that's what I'm seeing. But I do want to go get a data perspective to see like what's going on.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to see, and then really interesting what's going to happen in the next 6 months to a year, because like you said, a lot of suppliers are now moving to other countries. Are there going to be more suppliers that are going to come to the US? Maybe just instead of importing it, they can just get it from here, right? And then I guess the big question is how much prices are going to go up in terms of consumers, right? Am I going to be paying, 10% more, 15% more, right? Or are just a lot of businesses on Amazon going to close down? So these are all things that, we should monitor in the future. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And,
I was talking with a friend recently, and he was saying that labor costs in Vietnam versus China is about 1/3 to 2/3 what it is in China, but the cost of materials is so much cheaper in China. So like a lot of Vietnamese factories will, buy the materials in China, have it assembled or whatever in Vietnam, and now your country of origin is Vietnam. Another cool strategy, this is Nathan from Sourcify. Another cool strategy that he shared with just in terms of managing cash flow is you can bring the inventory in through the port, bring it into like San Diego or something, and then have it like shipped by truck on bond to Mexico. Have it sit in a warehouse in Mexico, and you can bring in just the amount of inventory you need from Mexico into FBA. So you're only paying tariffs like bit by bit, essentially.
Yeah, I'm sure these, most sellers are pretty creative, right? They always try to find a loophole, right? Costs, and, the system always will try to revert itself, and, but yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen.
For sure.
Well, what's your thoughts on like Amazon in the next, 5 years? Do you think Amazon is still going to be the dominant platform, or do you think there could be maybe another platform or another service like Walmart or Shopify or, Jet or something that could overtake Amazon?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of good questions. I think that Amazon will, 5 years from now, I do think that Amazon will still be the dominant player. I mean, it's just going to be hard to like, overthrow someone that is close to 50% of all e-com sales. And like, they're investing so heavily in the future. If they were just sitting back and saying, we won, then I feel like they would be more likely to be kind of like, pushed out of the seat, if you will. I do know that Walmart is investing really heavily in, I know Walmart is investing very heavily in e-com, and the thing that they're kind of bragging about is the fact that there's such less competition over there. So they do about 14% the GMV that Amazon does, but they have about 1% the sellers. And so, there's this cool company called Deliver with 2 R's that is really stepping up and helping people move from Amazon to Walmart from a logistics perspective. So I know that Walmart is trying to build an ecosystem around them. They're trying to get the momentum, but it's just a chicken and the egg scenario. There's no traffic, so no one wants to offer any products, but there's no product, so why would anybody go and buy? I honestly think that, I used to think that Walmart could come back and, really have some success against Amazon. My newest prediction is actually that Facebook will become the second biggest online marketplace in the US. And it's because, no one has more attention than Facebook, like 2 billion monthly active users. And, to some degree, like people trust Facebook, and Facebook already knows what kind of stuff that you buy because they're running ads to you already. And what if Facebook says to advertisers, hey, we'll give you a discount if you, instead of sending it to your own website or sending this traffic to Amazon, just send it to Facebook, right? And Facebook is already doing some of this stuff where for some sellers selling brand new product on Facebook, they are subsidizing your fulfillment fees. So for every purchase, they'll pay you $5 so that you can fulfill the product. And so I know some people that are kind of taking advantage of the system, and they're selling things for $1 and they're making profit because of this kind of subsidization that Facebook is doing. So I think Facebook has the tech capabilities. They have the ability to grow an audience. I mean, look at their ability to grow Instagram, for example. And they already have the attention. They already have a lot of the buying behavior data. I think that Facebook presents the biggest opportunity.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the Facebook part based on the data. I think the biggest thing that Amazon has over everyone else is really the shipping infrastructure, right? Because as a buyer, what is the most important thing for you? It's not the product, because I could buy the product anywhere I want, but it's how fast I can get the product from, right? So if Facebook could come up with a way to subsidize or get the product delivered to the customer as fast as Amazon can, then I think then they're seriously in contention to compete with them. And in my opinion, I don't know, in the future, tech changes a lot, right? So right now it's just software, but as a hardware or drones or whatever, delivery methods can become, more automated, easily cheaper, right? If I can deliver a package from A to B in one day with a machine or something, then Amazon could lose its edge, right? Or Amazon, they're probably already investing in it. I'm sure we've all read articles on how they want to use drone delivery. So I don't know, that could be the next thing, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen in the next few years.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in the last couple of years, we've seen how much, Amazon has evolved and changed, right? eBay, just 5 years ago, was probably the dominant marketplace, and then suddenly Amazon just came out of nowhere and just took them over, right? So it's some good stuff. Is there anything else you're really excited about in the future of Amazon? Any insights you want to give sellers on, being optimistic about growing brands or whatever thoughts you have?
Yeah, I mean, the main optimism is just the fact that Amazon continues to grow. I mean, as Amazon grows, that's opportunity for sellers to grow, so long as you kind of stay on top of your market. And, 5 years ago, you might have been selling, if you're the number one, call it fish oil, you might have been selling 10,000 units per month, and now you're selling 40,000 units per month, right? And so that trend, I think, is just going to continue to evolve as our buying behavior continues to move over to e-commerce. And so I'm really optimistic about that. I also want to encourage people to be optimistic about change, or try to have an optimistic perspective about change, because that is one of the biggest constants of selling on Amazon, is that things are absolutely going to change. And it's the people that respond to that change and are willing to adapt and set themselves up well for the long term that are going to be the most successful. So, one example is the review changes that started in 2016. I had a customer that was selling, now I can't remember, somewhere around $20 million per year. And so 2015, he sold close to $20 million. And then 2017, he barely broke $2 or $3 million. And it's all because his business, it was built kind of around this whole review system, and he no longer like knew how to launch products. He wasn't very invested in like trying to figure out this new path. He kind of just was like so laid back, and he wasn't like really invested in understanding Amazon and being like on top of every change. And so on the flip side, I know a lot of people that have been incredibly successful post 2016, right? And so anyways, basically I just want to encourage you, like, so much is going to change. I think search is going to change. I think the way people buy on Amazon is going to change so much. Like right now we see, 60 to 85% of sales come from organic traffic. So this is like keyword ranking, affiliates, and stuff like that. Well, I think that less and less will your organic ranking matter. I think it'll be more about the influencers that are pushing your product, more about buying through voice, and more about Amazon already sending you the products that they think that you want, right? So there's always going to be new opportunities. So now the new opportunity is really designing your title for voice so that when someone hears Alexa read your product title, they know they have to buy that product, right? Like video. And so I think there's always going to be these changes and these evolutions. And if you're very diligent and intentional about staying on top of those changes, you have so much opportunity ahead of you. But if you look at this as like, I'm going to sit on the beach and have some VAs kind of just fulfill some SOPs, despite everything changing around me, it's going to be difficult to have that long-term success on Amazon.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And, to grow a successful business, it's all about, educating yourself, knowing the changing environment, and then being able to adapt to it as soon as possible. And I love what you guys are doing at Viral Launch here. You guys are always innovating new tools and, helping sellers out. So I'll end it here. And I really appreciate you being on today with us. And again, this is Casey from Viral Launch. Check out their website, viral-launch.com. And great having you on today, Casey.
Thanks so much, Henson. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for more information, please visit feedbackwiz.com.